It is 5:05 p.m. I hope I don't get some major problems because I happen to be on my husband's phone because my daughter's on my phone making a phone call. She's been on hold for 30 minutes and it was like, of course they picked up right at 5 o'clock. So hopefully this is all going through. All right, so we've been talking about dementia for the last few days. The biggest concern I have when it comes to dementia is not just that the number of people with dementia is on the rise, but that it is affecting more people in their 40s and 50s than ever before, a full 10 years earlier than the statistics showed in the late 1990s. That in itself is a very scary thing. So why is this happening? Why are people in their 40s developing memory problems and full-blown dementia? Okay, deaths due to neurologic disease has also more than tripled in the United States, but in other Western countries it is also doubled in 13 out of 20 countries that they researched, and tripled also in 7 out of 20 countries. Okay, so it might be argued that as people live longer, they develop diseases that previously did not exist had they not lived long enough to develop them. Okay, but the speed and size of the increase is just 20 years. I mean, there's a big difference since 1990s, late 1990s. So about 20 years ago, the numbers have dramatically changed. Okay, so something is going on, and they believe, the people that I am following, that it's environmental influence specifically that is causing the changes in this condition. So what specifically are we talking about? Number one, they talk about road and air transportation has quadrupled, leading to a massive increase in air pollution. We know about that. Background radiation has gone through the roof, with everyone owning a cell phone and using Wi-Fi. Organophosphates, okay, we're talking insecticides, herbicides, pesticides, are in our food, unlike ever before. The increased use of petrochemicals in our personal care products, in our prescription medications. Okay, we were not meant to ingest petroleum, yet we do on a daily basis. Exposure to industrial chemicals such as flame retardants and metals, including heavy metals, including aluminum, copper. Aluminum, copper aren't heavy metals, but the heavy metals are lead, mercury, and arsenic. Okay, but also aluminum and copper. Excessive use of antimicrobials in our food, in our personal care products to keep them from going bad on the shelf. In animals, they pump them full of antimicrobials to keep them from getting sick because of the way they mass produce meat in this country. Okay, plasticizers including bisphenol A. This list is not all inclusive, but it is just to give you an idea of the overwhelming exposure that we've put upon ourselves in Western countries over the last 20 plus years, which probably and most likely has contributed to the earlier onset of dementia and the massive increase in deaths due to neurologic disease, and the massive increase in number of cases of dementia. At this point, it is unknown whether it is a single agent or a mixture of environmental factors or contaminants that contribute to the increase in dementia. In my opinion, it's the toxic soup mixture. Okay, it's not going to be one thing. They're not going to say, oh, it's this, let's take this away and all's going to be good. That's not going to happen. Okay, the CDC and the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease have developed minimum risk levels for many hazardous substances. Okay, so you can have this much but no more is basically what they say. The problem with that is they look at each agent individually. Okay, so agent A up to this amount may be fine, but when you do A, B, C, D, and E all up to their minimal points and you add them all together, that toxic mixture is a problem. Okay, so unfortunately, we don't live in a world of single toxic exposure. Okay, so the only way to approach this is to eliminate 100% as many of these contributing toxins that exist in your life, and try and reduce that overall exposure. Now, the article I reviewed is full of details on all of these toxic substances to the brain in detail, and they have others in there than the ones I talk about. The article is called "The Role of Environmental Contaminants in the Etiology of Alzheimer's." It was published in February of 2015, which is scary also that that's been around for going on 5 years. It's available on the NIH, the National Institute of Health website. You can look at it. It's very lengthy, it's very scientific and whatever, but there's a ton of information on all of these toxic ingredients that you would try your best to eliminate. Okay, they cover the metals, the pesticides, dioxins, bisphenol A, phthalates, triclosan, parabens, and more. It is very thorough. It's worth looking over if you have any concern of developing dementia in your family or in yourself. Most environmental contaminants are tested in vitro as well. Okay, in vitro means basically in a petri dish or in animal models at levels higher than what we might see in humans. So the studies may not all be 100% conclusive, but that's the best they can do. Obviously, we are the experiment. Okay, so they don't have to do it in petri dishes. They don't have to do it in animals. They just have to look around and see the experiment is failing because we are all getting sicker and sicker. So in addition, there actually might be a 5 to 10 year delay from exposure to a toxin before there's an onset of disease. So it's very hard to distinguish or to determine which exposure created the problem, right? So very large, detailed epidemiological studies tracking lifetime exposure to environmental contaminants are needed, but we don't have time for that. Okay, we don't got time for that. We have to address the situation right now. So if you are watching me today, if you're seeing this video and you are not currently working on eliminating some of the things I talked about from your life, from your exposure, message me because I am doing that. I know a lot of people that I'm friends with and that a group of people that I associate with are working on doing that. We can't eliminate 100%. Okay, we just can't live in a bubble. We know that. But we can do the best we can to eliminate as much as we can to reduce our exposure and increase our health overall. So it's not a doom and gloom. There are options. There are things you can do, but you have to make the effort. You can't just go to the store blindly and buy products anymore. You have to be reading labels. So if you want any of my input beyond just listening to me today, message me and I'll be happy to steer you in the right direction. I hope you guys, are doing stuff because you have to start now. Okay, we can't erase the past, but from today forward, we can make changes. So on that note, I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will be back again tomorrow for another Live in 5.